Hello and welcome to Select 10. 2023 has been a decent year for sci-fi films, but there are some top films of 2023 with unique alien invasion storylines and never-before-seen sci-fi themes that create epic narratives that every science fiction admirer should see. With only a few big sci-fi films, like Rebel Moon, set to be released in December 2023, we've put together our selections of the top sci-fi movies released in 2023 so far. While some films are now exclusively available in theaters, others are available on major streaming platforms. Now let's start the video. Number 10. No One Will Save You. It is a 2023 sci-fi horror film directed by Brian Duffield. The story is centered around a smart young woman named Bryn Adams, who has been abandoned by her neighborhood because of her traumatic past, and her past play an important role in the climax. Meanwhile, Bryn is unhappy but never gives up hope and seeks comfort inside the four walls of the house where she was raised, but her tranquil existence is disturbed when one night the aliens visit their isolated community. What occurs afterwards is a thrilling confrontation between Bryn and a number of aliens who both endanger her future and make her address past events. There aren't many dialogues in the film, but the way it utilizes its dramatic moments to evoke tension and nervousness is remarkable. There will be instances in the story when you won't be able to understand what's happening, and you will undoubtedly be shocked by its conclusion. This type of extraterrestrial invasion has never been seen before, which is why this one is a must-see for sci-fi fans. When it comes to its basic premise, it is nothing special, but it does present a unique perspective on aliens and keep your interest throughout. Number 9. Megan. Well, this movie received a lot of attention when it was released, and those who are missing Terminator-style movies will enjoy it. The plot occasionally deviates from logic, but it is entertaining and an excellent blend of science fiction and horror. The good news is that a sequel to this movie is officially confirmed. The narrative centers on a researcher who creates an android doll and pairs it with her niece to keep her company at home. However, things start to get bizarre as the doll starts functioning on its own and people start mysteriously dying all around her. It's essentially an AI gone wild type of tale, but the idea of a doll Terminator is really bizarre. The story raises deeper narrative questions focused on modern electronic influences and their unchecked consequences. Number 8. Linoleum. It is a 2023 sci-fi comedy film starring Jim Gaffigan. The story follows Cameron Edwink, who lives in a small Ohio community and has always intended to be a space traveler, owing to having grown up in the environment of his more famous scientist father. His long-standing dream is reignited when a piece of a space shuttle lands into his garden from space. In the aftermath, he chooses to pursue his unfulfilled desire and attempts to rebuild the fallen equipment into a homemade rocket, all while coping with family issues. However, as more bizarre occurrences occur in his daily activities, the narrative quickly turns, and he not only thinks that his purpose is legitimate, but also comes to the realization that there is much more to his existence story than he initially believed. The tale is a funny sci-fi dramedy that is passionate and affecting, and it is surprisingly heartbreaking and strangely stunning. The narrative slowly develops the story's emotions, which might not work with all sci-fi fans. The climax is equally bizarre, but it makes Linoleum stand out from the crowd of low-budget sci-fi films. Number 7. Paradise. It is a sci-fi thriller directed by Boris Kunz. The movie is set in a distant future in which the mysterious Eon Corporation has grown into a multinational pharmaceutical empire. The plot develops as they use a groundbreaking technology that allows for transferring lifespans from one individual to another. The story centers on Elena, who and her husband Max are forced to deal with demands from insurance they cannot afford. In order to make up for it, she was forced to sell Eon 40 years of her own life. While this is going on, her husband Max does all in his power to recover the years that have been lost by his wife. But things take a turn, and they quickly become the focus of a manhunt that pushes them beyond ethical limits as well as across nations. Most of the movie drags, while it borrows concepts from better movies and combines them into a much less accomplished film. This one's execution is weak, but it's not a bad movie, it's simply not good enough. It's an interesting and enlightening dystopian sci-fi story with enough action to keep the viewer interested. Number 6. They Clone Tyrone. It is a 2023 science fiction mystery film starring John Boyega, Teyonah Parris, and Jamie Foxx. The narrative centers on a trio, a narcotics dealer, a criminal, and a bar worker who discover a sinister secret conspiracy in their area, which takes them to a mystery facility concealed beneath an unmarked house. There, they quickly learn of an organized crime involving weird experiments on local residents. The movie is unexpectedly funny, which highlights certain issues in society. Meanwhile, humorous comedy and science fiction mysteries employ fear to advance their narratives. Overall, the film boasts a terrific cast, an intriguing story, sharp social satire, and an appealing visual style. Number 5. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. It is a 2023 science fiction action film, and it is the 7th installment in the Transformers film series. The film takes place in New York City in 1994, where a centuries-old object unexpectedly becomes an indicator for the powerful ruler Unicron. The plot centers on technology specialist Noah Diaz and antique specialist Elena Wallace as they support the Autobots and their friends the Maximals in defending a relic called the Transwarp Key from the wicked Terrorcans, who want to utilize it to bring their planet-eating alien Unicron to Earth. The rest of the movie follows as the Unicron army pursues Autobots to obtain the key via whatever means are necessary. All of this culminates in the movie's conclusion, a gigantic battle that is arguably one of its best moments. This movie is relatively weak in comparison to earlier ones, yet it accomplishes something that earlier movies haven't. It introduces a number of new Transformer species and their quick backgrounds. While the plot is simple, the movie still has enough emotion and fantastic action to appeal to both series enthusiasts and independent viewers. Number 4. Jules. It is a 2023 science fiction comedy film directed by Mark Turtletaub. This narrative centers on Milton, who leads a regular life in a tiny Pennsylvanian town until getting his day turned upside down by a UFO crash landing in his own yard with an alien passenger. This will sound similar to another movie on the list, Linoleum, but the similarities ends here. After this unanticipated occurrence, Milton grows close to the extraterrestrial, and circumstances get tough when his neighbors find the alien and the authorities step in rapidly. What ensues next is a hilarious, crazy story as they spend extra time with the extraterrestrial, assisting it in gathering power for the vessel. Despite the movie's poor visuals, its context about friendship and family is absolutely delightful. The movie is surprisingly pleasant overall and includes entertaining characters and a funny narrative. Here are a few honorable mentions. Jung-E. The story takes place on a post-apocalyptic Earth where there is conflict between different human groups. In the meantime, a scientist at a famous facility plans to duplicate the mind of a brave warrior to produce an elite unit of soldiers in an effort to put an end to the conflict and promote peace and order between different sides. There are few plot twists, but the film's worth lies in its futuristic action sequences and odd dystopian setting. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Probably the best MCU film after Endgame, which did not disappoint fans. It is the third and last part of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, and it had a thrilling conclusion. This story centers on the Guardians as they undertake a new risky expedition to rescue a member of their squad who has been abducted by a criminal who has been speculated to be a mad scientist. The film features large-scale action sequences and its own unique humor, which wonderfully complements the plot. Well, it does not have any big drawbacks because it delivers on its promise of an epic experience. Number 3. Blue Beetle. It is a 2023 superhero sci-fi film based on the DC character, Blue Beetle. Although it is a traditional origin story for a superhero, the movie nonetheless is pretty good, thanks to its amazing combat scenes and fantastic CGI. The protagonist of the narrative is Jamie Reyes, who, upon returning home with high hopes for the years to come, discovers that things are not exactly as he left them. As Jamie looks for his place in the universe, destiny steps in as he unintentionally comes into control of the Scarab, a mysterious object of alien technology that grants him a remarkable suit of armor with astonishing and unanticipated abilities. The plot thickens as the organization that the Scarab belongs to pursues Jamie and his family, forcing Jamie to stand up for them. The film's main two positives, for which you should see this one, are its action and Xolo Maridueña's superb performance. Number 2. The Creator. I had a few too many expectations for this one, and while they were not fully met, it was still really incredible. The story takes place in the middle of a conflict between people and artificially intelligent robots and follows the story of an army veteran, Joshua, who is charged with tracking down and executing the Creator, an unobtainable mastermind behind powerful AI who has created sinister weaponry with the potential to destroy the military's anti-AI warcraft. However, Joshua's goal is completely altered when he discovers that the weapon is actually an AI child who he feels driven to safeguard as long as she can help him discover the truth. The creation of this film world is complicated, but its stunning graphics and emotional central plotline make it both provocative and heartbreaking. Even when the script suffers, the movie's visual splendor is always top-notch, and the background music fits the action well. The story realistically and lavishly challenges viewers with our darkest AI-related worries, while struggling to highlight the brutal realities of both the benefits and downsides of the new technology. It is a must-see film for 2023. Number 1. The Wandering Earth 2. It is a 2023 science fiction action-adventure film directed by Fran Guo. It is a prequel to one of the best sci-fi films, The Wandering Earth. This movie covers every incident that led to the plot of the first movie. The events of the story take place over several decades prior to Earth's separation from orbit. The movie is set in a distant future when the sun is vanishing quickly and will annihilate Earth in its path. In the wake of this discovery, humans attempt to create massive turbines to move the Earth to a new galaxy far from the sun's violent outbursts. The journey deep into the universe, however, turns hazardous, and humanity's only chance of survival hinges on a handful of people tasked with carrying out a hazardous task to safeguard the Earth, while a criminal group on Earth tries to destroy their effort. The movie is exceptional, and compared to the first movie, it is darker and more psychologically believable. Despite an exciting plot, the film's length, which is close to 3 hours, will be evident to you. Overall, it's an outstanding sci-fi dystopian apocalypse film with spectacular visual effects that is also very entertaining. Additionally, you can watch any movie first and still understand the plots of both. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. And do subscribe our channel to see more videos related to movies and series suggestions.